Chapter 5. The Colosseum. 9-5 Island. More and more powerful people gathered towards the 9-5 Islands, searching around for Gu Hai's whereabouts. Not only the 9-5 Islands, a large area of the surrounding sea, as well as a large number of islands, had become the object of countless cultivator searches, with each island launching small forces from all sides to search for Gu Hai with all their might. However, it was as if Gu Hai had evaporated from the earth, and after another month or so, there was not a single piece of news. The 9-5 Islands have gathered more and more cultivators, and the Great Abundance Gang is the only big casino in the surrounding sea. But also by the four sides of the cultivators, a large number of cultivators gathered. Also to the Great Abundance Gang caused countless spirit stone revenue. Countless cultivators will not be able to find the ancient sea of resentment, vented in the gambling again and again. However, they didn't know that Gu Hai, whom they couldn't find, was hiding under the eyes of all of them. Dafengang, Wicked Valley. Gu Hai and Gao Xianzi were leaning in a small corner. It had been more than a month, and the two of them still had no way to break the seal. My lord, it's been more than a month. The people outside are going to be waiting impatiently. Aren't your family members? Gao Xianzi worried. The less we show up, the safer my son will be. Gu Hai shook his head. Yes, if your family is unharmed, then it's best. My subordinate is all alone, and there's no one for me to worry about. Gao Xianzi shook his head and said, Speaking of which, sometimes it's good to have a family member to be threatened. Gu Hai laughed. Oh, my subordinate doesn't understand, Gao Xianzi said in disbelief. If you have enemies looking for trouble, you can lead them into your trap, Gu Hai taught. Oh, Gao Xianzi's eyes steeply lit up. This time, we are behind bars. Let's not talk about it for now. After you get out, you can set up some family members for yourself. If there are any enemies, you can handle them with ease, Gu Hai whispered. Gao Xianzi pondered for a while. His eyes lit up and he nodded. Yes, thank you for your guidance. Any future orders from your lordship, my subordinate will do my best and never slack off. Gu Hai looked at Gao Xianzi and smiled slightly. Because of Gao Xianzi's words, Gu Hai had already heard and understood that Gao Xianzi was willing to truly follow him. My lord, it's been more than a month. Are we going to stay here all this time, then wait until the Colosseum and fight to the death? Gao Xianzi was a little worried. The situation is not favorable for us, this wicked valley, this period of time. What do you see? Gu Hai looked at Gao Xianzi and said, All a bunch of ruthless people, and ruthless people with brains can't say they are bad. But, due to the environment, everyone here is vicious and venomous, Gao Xianzi said in a deep voice. Yeah, when I first came here, in order to grab food, if you're not ruthless, you'll be bullied, Gu Hai said in a deep voice. Listening to what Chen Chongchen said before, this group of villains are the villains from all over the Thousand Islands Sea. All criminals who have committed great crimes and were captured by the Thousand Islands Sea clans, and then sold to the Dafeng Gang, Gao Xianzi recalled. All of them were ruthless people who made enemies of the various sects with their own power. Being an enemy of the sects is not necessarily evil. Who says that the sects must be the good guys? It's just a matter of becoming a king or losing a bandit. And after experiencing countless killings, the ones who manage to survive are the group of people who fought the fiercest battles, Gu Hai said in a deep voice. My lord, you want to? Gao Xianzi looked towards Gu Hai. Let's wait first. Each and every one of them is untamed. They are not good. Let's wait for Chen Chongchen to come back first, Gu Hai whispered. Chen Chongchen was chosen and went to the Colosseum. I wonder what will happen, Gao Xianzi worried. Don't worry about him. His cultivation is at the Jindan realm, and he has eaten that peach. Didn't you feel the benefits of that peach? Gu Hai said in a deep voice. Yes, my subordinate felt it. That peach possesses a vibrant vitality. We were able to survive that shipwreck. Your lordship's life jacket played a big role. That peach might have a big role as well, Gao Xianzi whispered. Gu Hai nodded. My lord. That man is looking over again, Gao Xianzi steeply said in a deep voice. Oh, Gu Hai twisted his head to look. Scar. That's him, ever since we just came to snatch the rats, and were repelled by you, my lord, these past month or so. He's been against us at every turn, but unfortunately, he's not a match for your lordship. And now the grudge is getting bigger and bigger. Gao Xianzi narrowed his eyes. Gu Hai looked at Scar in the distance and revealed a cold smile. It's fine. He can't turn the tide. Clatter. Steeply, a sound of chains came from the mouth of the valley. It instantly attracted the crowd to turn their heads and look. However, they saw a group of black-clothed men once again crossing into the valley. And following behind the black-clothed men, there was only one person, Chen Chongchen. Chen Chongchen was handcuffed and shackled, his body covered in blood, his hair scattered, and his hands seemed to have been scratched through the flesh and blood, revealing the white bones. Undo, the leader of the black-clothed man shouted. Clatter, the chains on Chen Chongchen's body quickly unraveled. Assemble, the man in black in the lead let out a loud shout. Clatter, the cultivators from all directions quickly gathered. This time, no one dared to slack off. It was Gu Hai and Gao Xianzi who quickly arrived in the crowd. Chen Chongchen weakly walked into the crowd and walked to the side of Gu Hai and Gao Xianzi. My lord, I'm still alive. Chen Chongchen's eyes were filled with a desperate bitterness. Of the 20 people who went here, you are the only one left alive. You can feel proud. Gu Hai whispered comfortingly. That they were all in the innate realm, too cruel, too ruthless, almost couldn't come back. Chen Chongchen shuddered in trembling. It's back after all. Rest easy and recuperate. Gu Hai took a deep breath and said. Chen Chongchen nodded weakly. The leader of the black-robed man, at the more than 3,000 villains, and said coldly, all Koshi ships, step out and follow me. What? Gao Xianzi and Chen Chongchen's eyes glazed over. It was because Gu Hai's bronze mask had the number Aussie on it. Gu Hai was chosen. Gu Hai's eyes narrowed. Among the crowd of villains, many of those with the number Aussie on their masks had their faces changed. However, no one dared to resist at this moment and could only walk to the front. My lord, Gao Xianzi said, anxiously. As Gu Hai walked past where Gao Xianzi was, he handed out a small bottle to Gao Xianzi. With a flash, no one noticed. Heal his wounds, and wait for me to come back, Gu Hai whispered. With that, Gu Hai followed the crowd to the front. There were 16 people in total. Ka. A group of men in black quickly put shackles on the 16 people. Cluck, kid, remember me. A vicious voice came from beside Gu Hai. But it was Scar who had been suffering at the hands of Gu Hai all this time. Defeated underling, fuck off to the side, Gu Hai said coldly. HMPH, wait until the Colosseum and see how you die. Scar's eyes glared. Pa, steeply, a whip hit Scar. What nonsense, follow me, a man in black shouted angrily. Scar lowered his head, not daring to resist. A group of 16 people followed the man in black and slowly stepped out of the valley. After the men in black left, Gao Xianzi helped Chen Chongchen return to the previous place once again, a corner, avoiding the crowd. What to do? Gao, the Colosseum, the innate realm and Jindan realm are mixed up all. What can my lord do if he goes this way? Chen Chongchen anxiously said. This is what my lord gave you. Quickly eat it, nourish your injuries, and wait for my lord to return. Gao Xianzi handed the small bottle to Chen Chongchen. Chen Chongchen did not hesitate and opened his mouth to swallow the elixir in the vial. Instantly, Chen Chongchen looked much better, and his body was rapidly growing flesh amongst the scars. In the Colosseum, the Jindan realm and innate realm are mixed up. Aren't your cultivation levels sealed? Gao Xianzi looked towards Chen Chongchen. The seal was lifted for a short period of time. It doesn't even matter what cultivation difference you have, whoever is arranged, whoever is on our batch, except for me, are all at the innate realm. That's why I was able to survive until the end, Chen Chonchen said bitterly. You've recovered your cultivation to the Jindun realm, and you were actually injured so badly by a group of innate realms. Gao Xianzi stared blankly at Chen Chonchen. Chen Chonchen said bitterly, you don't understand. The fighting arena is not just about cultivation, but also life. They all don't want their lives. They are all ruthless people. That ruthlessness, it's too scary, too scary. When they get on you, they will dig off a piece of your flesh, even if they have broken their hands. And when their face is leaning on your body, they can tear the flesh and bones of your body, and don't want to lose their lives, even devouring them. Gao Xianzi's eyelids fluttered furiously for a while, twisting his head to look at the group of villains in the Valley of Evil. Here, seldom fighting, as if they were sheep. Who would have thought that they would be so ruthless when they went out? My lord will be fine. Gao Xianzi took a deep breath and said. Chen Chonchen nodded, worrying. Your Excellency is extremely intelligent, but in the Colosseum, fighting for strength, fighting for viciousness, fighting for life, it's useless to have strong intelligence. I hope Your Excellency will be fine. The Darth Engang's custody was extremely careful, even though the crowd of villains had their cultivation sealed. The entrances and exits were still bound with chains. Gu Hai followed the crowd as they slowly traveled through a bunch of mountains and forests, and gradually they were brought to a huge mountain outside. The mountain was hollowed out in general, engraved with formations, and became incredibly sturdy. With a doorway, the crowd slowly walked along the dark corridor. The interior was divided into many rooms for different purposes. 16 people were divided into 16 small cells. In the small cells, there was a window that could see a huge valley square outside. The mountain above the plaza was cut into a huge seating area. This shape, it's really like the ancient Roman Colosseum, isn't it? It's just that it's more than 10 times bigger than the ancient Roman Colosseum. Gu Hai's eyes narrowed slightly as he looked outside. In the middle of the cell, there was a small table filled with beef. This might be your last meal. Tomorrow you will enter the fight and kill. Eat up and be a full dead. The black-clothed man who was escorting him said coldly. Kwong. The man in black closed the cell door and went out. The 16 villains, at this moment, received the same hospitality, and the cells were each filled with food. The crowd of villains each quickly devoured it. In the Evil Man Valley, eating dead rats, that was forced. It had been a long time since they had eaten such good food. Of course, the crowd of evil men had long since not cared about the beauty of the food. As long as they could replenish their physical strength, they had to go and eat it. Even if a table of dead rats also have to eat, tomorrow is the time to decide life and death. One more point of physical strength, in order to have one more chance to live. There were a few wicked people who even ate with tears in their eyes, while showing a hideous look on their faces.